Hi everyone, Cat says hello too. I wanted to make this video about a piece that I just recently wrote called The First Lover, which comes from poetry from Lawrence Hope, who um, her real name was Adela Florence Corey Violet Nicholson, and she wrote under the pen name of Lawrence Hope. And I found this poem and immediately felt attracted to it. I think it's just really sweet and romantic, and it's beautiful imagery um, of these two people, lovers who are on a boat together, and uh, the guy, he's in the sea, and he's beckoning the girl to come down and swim with him. And to me, the implication here is that it's a bit improper for her to be um, going down and swimming with this man, and so she has to wait until it's dark so that she can sneak away and be with him. And they swim together through the night, and their only concern is the sun coming up, because when the morning arrives, then they have to part again. So it's just really lovely and beautiful, I think, description of just kind of falling in love and just the feelings that can come along with that. So I wrote this poem for my dad's university choir, the University of Utah Chamber Choir, who I've written for many times. They're fabulous, fabulous group. I just couldn't be more lucky to have a parent who happens to be an amazing artist as well. So they'll be premiering this piece this spring, which I'm very, very much looking forward to. I think I'm going to start by just playing this, and keep in mind it's MIDI, so you have to be very forgiving and have a good imagination. But this will give you a good idea of which notes should go where at what time. So let me play this, and then I'm going to analyze this thing. Whoa! Yeah, that's the problem with MIDI. Okay. Let's try this again. There we go, that's better. So there it is. I'm very, very proud of it. I think it is just, it really captures what this text means to me, which is not always easy to do. I mean, I read this text and I internalize it and I feel, um, these emotions or these images, um, and translating that into sound, into music. It's not always an easy process, but this was very, very natural for me. In fact, I wrote this thing in about 2 days, which I think is the fastest I've written anything. So, needless to say, I'm very, very proud of it. But that sounded very arrogant. If you didn't like what I wrote here, that's okay too. But I like it. I like it a great deal. Anyway, okay. Well, let's dive in here. So we got 5 sharps because I adopted my dad's bad composing habit of composing in keys that had large amounts of sharps and flats. It could be 6 or 7, but it's not. It's only 5. Now, 5 sharps, of course, would imply B major or G sharp minor. In this case, it's not really either. It's primarily in E Lydian, which would be E major with a sharp 4. Of course, as we'll see later, it does have implications of G sharp minor. So it's kind of, those are the 2 key areas. That's the minor version is G sharp minor. And the major version is E Lydian. But ultimately, this thing is an E Lydian in my mind. So we start here with this little, just kind of water figure, which outlines the type of chord that I'm particularly fond of. If we put this in its root position, it looks like this. So essentially what we have is a 5th, and then we have the 2nd scale degree, and then the sharp 4. I think maybe this has a name, but I don't know what it is. But I love the sound. I think it's just lovely. It's got a major 2nd and a minor 2nd, so you kind of get the warmth of the major 2nd with the energy of the minor 2nd all together. And of course, there's implications of the 5th and the Lydian mode and everything, so it just checks all the boxes for me. So putting this in an inversion is right here. And then this is the same chord, it's just revoiced. So far we've only had 1 chord, and then right here, so it's this appoggiatura, goes down, so this thing resolves to E major. So it's almost as if this thing is one giant appoggiatura, where it's here, and then resolves there at some point. Going along here, this very simple motivic idea. Sorry. Again, there's that chord. It's kind of remarkable to me just how many times I use that figure. I mean, that is basically all the melodic ideas in this piece are based on that little guy right there. it's really not moving too much, right? I mean, like this thing is staying right here, or here, or here, sometimes expanding to here. So when we get that C sharp that's introduced, which usually resolves down to the B, that tends to happen at the end of the phrase. So what's happening in the text here is o'er the vessel's side she leant, she saw a swimmer in the sea, with eager eyes on her intent, come down and swim with me. So it's, like I say, it's the guy, he's floating in the water, and he's beckoning her to come down. So the next verse is not all that different. We have, a little counterpoint that happens here, just some simple imitation. So weary was she of her lot, tired of the ship's monotony. So she's straightway all the world forgot, save the young swimmer in the sea. So, she's just fixed on him in the sea. She wants to go be with him. And, she's kind of putting on pleasantries to, the company that she's keeping on the ship, but she's really just focused on getting down to see him, which I think is really sweet. Harmonically, there's some variation. There's no variation harmonically in this verse, at least at the beginning. It's just kind of difference in registers. It's right there. It's that A natural that's introduced. And this is our first non-diatonic chord. Okay, so right here something happens. So before I move on, I want to point out that this goes A natural, which then descends by a third to F sharp. And that's a harmonic motion that happens a lot in this piece. In terms of whenever we get that A natural, we're going to move to the F sharp. But then it just shifts here, F sharp minor to G sharp minor, which I love that sound, especially with the sevenths in the bass, it's parallel sevenths. But see right here, the phrase ends on G sharp minor, so we've moved from E Lydian to G sharp minor, which keeps the same key signature, but the tonal center is now changed. So what happens here, it's a 4-bar phrase, 1 harmony per bar, and this is the progression that I feel is kind of, it's symbolic of the two levers together. And so, what you get here in my mind is kind of the desire for the two to be together, but they're not together yet. And so the progression is G sharp minor, B major, C sharp minor, and then either an inversion of G sharp minor in first inversion or E major, but I think of it as E major. So G sharp minor, B major, C sharp minor, E major. The thing is that it's only implications of that, and it's in, there's an inversion that happens here, which later everything will become in root position, which to me is kind of the fulfillment of this chord progression. So we'll get to that soon here, but this continues. but it's been altered a little bit. So right there, A natural going to F sharp, just like it did before. And this I really like. A couple of years ago, I became very enticed with the idea of having, the right hand in one time signature and the left hand in another, or just suggesting different groupings. So in this case, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and down below 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. And of course, this thing's in 6/8, so you have this hemiola happening where this is suggesting 3/4 against the 6/8 pattern, which I like a lot. But here we have a D natural in the bass. And the melody is still D sharp, just like before. Which I like that a lot. I like that better than... That was kind of awkward to me. So I kept the D sharp. But then it seemed to work better to me to have the men do the D natural. So it oscillates between these two chords happening here. This one, and then this one. And that's all that this phrase contains, it's just those two chords. And initially it's symmetrical. There's just one per bar. And the whole thing is an 8-bar phrase. It's 2 4-bar phrases. And so right here, 2, 3. If I kept the symmetry going, I would shift again. But I don't. I go 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, and then make up the difference here. 4. Which I love that. I think it's such a simple way to keep a little harmonic interest, but still only use 2 chords. It's just to elongate the first chord to 2 bars, and then since it's 4-bar phrases, which means that they're symmetrical, that means on the second one that you have to do the second harmony twice as long. And I think it's very simple and effective. Okay, so right here, this is probably my favorite place in the piece. And what's funny is that I wrote it quasi-accidentally, where, I was just kind of messing around, and I thought, oh, we can go back here, oh yeah, that's nice, that's good, yeah, and then I can bring back this chord progression again, we can do it again, and blah, 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 and then I had it, and then I went back, and I reworked it, and, it extended it, made it a little longer than it was initially, took the phrase to a different place. So, I'm reworking this thing compositionally, and then just kind of one of those times, I just pressed the play button, and I just loved it. I loved what I came up with there. And that's so great when that can happen, when you can just kind of work with it and then be surprised by how much you like it. I love that this thing just expands in contrary motion, and on the word softly, which is so beautiful, this imagery. So what's happening here is, so that when the dusky dying light left all the water dark and dim, and they repeat it, and they're chasing each other. When the dusky died, so when the dusky died, left all the water dark. So they're chasing each other back and forth, and so this is night falling, which I loved, that there was kind of this sense of anticipation about it, and almost restlessness in the harmony that ultimately needs to go somewhere. And so when left all the water dark and dim, she softly, in the friendly night, slipped down the vessel side to him. I messed that up, but I love that poetry. I think that's so beautiful and elegant, and she softly in the friendly night. It's not just that she was being, quiet because she doesn't want to, wake anyone. It's this mannerism about it too, that she softly, moved through the vessel down the side of it to be with him. I think that's lovely. I love that melody there. It's right here. We go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Right. Just a little moment right there where we don't come in on the downbeat can make all the difference. This is what it would sound like if we came in on the downbeat. It's not even close to as effective to me when it's on the downbeat there. Just something about it just has a little dance to it, which I just think that's beautiful, and I love this. This is a trick I got from John Adams and Bernstein, and all those American composers love their major sevenths in their melodies. But here are kind of the two lovers together. That chord progression returns right here, but starts to take on this, very floaty quality about it. It also has kind of infatuation and an energy about it too. But it's a quiet, elegant energy, which I think matches the text really well. So in the night slips down the vessel side to him. So there's our A natural again. And A natural inevitably gives way to F sharp minor, as it's always done. Down to F sharp minor to G sharp minor. So I'm creating this harmonic motif of that F sharp minor chord sliding up to the G sharp minor chord. This thing really does slip between the keys like that, which, slips down the vessel side to him. Makes nice text painting there. Right here, I like these sevenths, the parallel sevenths. So right there, of course, we have a change in the key. Gone to a different place, and the figure has become more wavy. So I figure this is when she actually gets into the water to join him. It's right here. So we go along here. I love, these days I love anything with stacked forts. So I love it. I think it's just beautiful. So the text here, intent and brilliant, brightly dark, which I find such a funny contradiction. Brightly dark. Intent and brilliant, brightly dark. Well, what's bright here? Well, it's she's commenting on his eyes, is what it is. Intent and brilliant, brightly dark. She saw his burning eager eyes and many a phosphorant spark, which just has this lovely, intensity in the imagery. And, the attraction between these two couldn't be more clear. It's very, very clear that all they want to do is to be together. Of course, there's this nice polyrhythm hemiola thing that I like right here. Right there, you get the A natural that gives way to A sharp or F sharp, just like always. But this time, the F sharp continues down to F. All those notes aren't quite right, but it's close enough. But then the final line of the stanza, about his shoulders fall and rise, which is, of course, when you're bobbing in the water, there's that rising and falling of the shoulders. And that's what I feel actually was painted here, not consciously. I don't generally intend to do any of this. I just kind of look back on it after and I go, oh, well, I know that it feels right to me, but I can go back and make some sort of theoretical sense about it, which makes me wonder if maybe I know what I'm doing subconsciously, and that manifests as feeling like it's right or that it's wrong to me. So that has about the right tempo to me, even of those shoulders falling and rising, which is really lovely. Get this nice I like things like that, just a little dissonance that has a conventional resolution, but this thing is kind of suggesting F, but instead I go to the relative minor D, which gives it a new depth in my mind. Okay, so from D we just hop right back up to, we started this section in D major and ended up on D minor, which I don't think feels like tonic. I think A minor probably feels like tonic at this point in the phrase. But it's still interesting that it started on D and ended on D, and then we just hop right back up to G sharp minor, where our key signature is. Apparently I didn't even bother changing the key signature here. Maybe I should have, but too late now. So they already have the music. Okay, but when we jump back here, we're keeping the same flowy, falling and rising motif or rhythmic idea, but now we're going to superimpose on that the harmonic progression that's the two levers together. All in root position, big, warm, expansive, rich chords. So this is the fulfillment of all those other allusions to this chord progression, which again matches the text. And again, I did not intend this, but it just kind of worked out that way. So, but the text, as through the hushed and eastern night, which I love that. I think that's just beautiful. They swam together hand in hand, or lay and laughed in sheer delight, full length upon the level sand. There's this real, friendship here that I can feel between these two lovers. This isn't just about sexual attraction, although that's a very clear part of all of this. This poetry is has a lot of sexual energy about it, but there's this really lovely, sincere friendship that happens here. I imagine these two, full length on the level sand, and and they lay and laughed in sheer delight. I imagine this is, that they're talking together and that they're making each other laugh, and that they're, there's really just sweet imagery to all this. Of course, I wanted this just to be, expansive, and and they're just swimming through this ocean together, and just the two of them. So, of course, we're in forte, and I get away from the. Instead, I introduce something a little different, I'm not playing all these harmonies exactly right. But and then on we go. But I like that choir suggests B major. Right there. But the harmony is G sharp minor, actually, so you put them together. So I love that chord, I think it's beautiful. So it's right there. The altos bring back our old but it's been augmented into dotted eighth notes. Which I love that. I think that's just lovely. And right here, we deviate from the chord progression, whereas before we were going G sharp minor to B major, C sharp minor, E major. Now we go G sharp minor to B major as before, but it's an inversion, and we skip over C sharp minor. We don't go here. We just go straight to E, and then to A. A natural, which, you guessed it, is going to go down to F sharp. But unlike every other time where A natural gave way to F sharp minor, right there, this now pivots us back into E Lydian. Because what happens is that we have this A major going to F sharp, but the chord is this, which is so cool. I love that chord. And you gotta hear this thing with the choir. It's just magic what they do. Let's see, the right hand, this is that chord that started us all off. It's just in a different inversion. And it's supplemented with that F sharp. But then it can naturally just go back to E Lydian. I like that a lot. It's like before, where it went down from the C sharp to the B, and now it's going the other way. And what's happening here is, just like at the beginning, as we were just staying in E Lydian for most of our harmonies, either that E Lydian chord that resolves down to E major. So that's always the idea, is that this thing resolves to E major. A soft, elusive purple night, whose darkness knew no vexing moon, a cruel, needless dawning light that trembled in the sky too soon. And I love just kind of the, here they are on the level sand. And then we just hear the inklings of time start to come in, and we don't necessarily want that time to be passing. We just prefer to stay where we are on this level sand, but time moves on anyway, and it's still, we still have that very sweet quality about it, but I mean, I can see the sun, just the first beams of light starting to come up over the horizon, and right here, we've been spending all this time on either E major or this E Lydian chord, and now we take this C sharp minor chord that we've been hearing all the way through. So, you have something to say? And we stick it in an inversion. Which I love that. I love taking this initial idea, just putting it, that was happening in E, and then just putting it on the relative minor, which is C sharp minor. This is why Stravinsky called it the game of notes, I think, is because the difference between here and this one note, and it's right next to each other. It's either this B or the C sharp. And the two are completely different feels to me. This has, kind of that longing for time to stay as it is. But yeah, time passes anyway. This little duet that happens between the tenor and the alto, which I love that. I think that's lovely. And this thing, again, those stacked fourths in the choir. So this is our Lydian chord, C sharp, which then makes one last resolution to E major. And this is so beautiful, this color that the choir gets. And I love this retard into our final E major chord. It's not as effective to me on just the piano, but when you hear the choir crescendo this chord, and then goes away to that closed ooh sound in the choir. It's so beautiful, and of course the accompaniment drops out so that we just get the just that pure beauty of the choir sound happening there at the end. And this thing also, it's the sun trembled in the sky too soon. I wanted this to kind of make its point, which was two lovers swimming in the sea together. And then after that, the piece ends not too long after. I wanted to just kind of get out of there to, express the idea that, the sun trembled in the sky too soon. Yeah, so there it is. So I hope you enjoyed. Thank you for watching. And Lucy, she says, thank you for watching too. Although maybe you were like Lucy and slept through it, which I wouldn't blame you. Music theory is definitely not for those who are afraid of the monotonous and the dull. But anyway, thank you for watching.